Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi mineşşeytanir racim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi şrah li sadri ve yessir li emri vahlul ukdeten min lisani yefkahu kavli ve ceal li veziran min ehli Harun ahi üşdud bihi ezri ve eşriku fi emri key nusebbihake kethira ve nezkurake kethira inneke kunte bina basira. Allahümme gfir zunubana, Allahümme erhamna, Allahümme erhamna acileyna, Allahümme ensur men nasaraddin, la havle ve la kuvvete illa billahil aliyyil azim, ve sallillahümme ala Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve ashabihi ve etba'ihi ve sellem, velhamdülillahi rabbil alemin. Inshallah, we are going to study the last part of our discussion on the story of Sulaiman in the Quran. We will see some verses from the chapter section from the section of the Quran, Sad, 38th section of the Quran. And we will go a kind of summary of it, inshallah, today, and then conclude the story. So in this section, in these verses, the last section, we see that we are going to study some segments, pieces of the Prophet Sulaiman, and we will try to understand and wrap up the subject. And there are some interesting points in these verses. That's why I have chosen to share them with you. Now, the third verse 30, section 38, verse 30 says, we gave David Solomon. He was an excellent service who always turned to God. I think there are 2 points that we have to concentrate on. Of course, the history, or most of the scholars agree that Solomon was the son of David and inherited his profession as the administrator of the country. Possible, yeah, why not? Possible, but we have to bear in mind that the prophets should not be appointed according to their lineage, their family background, or because somebody is a prophet, his son has to be a prophet. No, God has chosen him. He may not. For example, the Prophet Muhammad has no child who inherited his position as an administration, neither as a prophet. Most of the prophets don't have, but some of them mentioned in the Quran have. One of them is Prophet Abraham, and the other one is Prophet David. And somehow it is somehow related to Prophet Jacob as the father of the Prophet Joseph. But this aspect of the narration is not very important. Being the son of a prophet, and the prophethood will follow a lineage. It is not necessary. In this verse, it is clearly said, we gave David Solomon. Yeah, maybe as a result of his mission as a prophet, he conveyed the message to the people, and among them, his son, Suleiman, benefited from them most and carried on this mission of prophethood, profession of prophethood. But we shouldn't be really neither on the side that will deny that there is no son-father relationship in the lineage of the prophet, nor we have to accept that every prophet must inherit but have some heir so that they will transfer the prophethood to him. Both of them are extreme. As this verse says, God gave, blessed David with the prophet Solomon. That was one point. Just, it is commonly known, but we have to emphasize on the importance of not having a lineage of prophethood. Thus, it is not necessary. The other one is this Solomon is presented to us. This is important for us to understand the following verses in the same section. It is important to notice that Solomon was described as an excellent servant who always turned to God, He was perfect as a prophet in his mission of prophethood, as well as his worship of God as an abd in Arabic words, worshipper of God. He was perfect. When we need to know it, because there will be some problem in the following verses that will cause lots of really dispute among the scholarship, the Muslim scholarship. 31 continues. When well-bred, light-footed horses, really excellent quality horses, were displayed before him near the close of day. Now we have to watch out what will happen. Excellent, perfectly created, well-bred horses, they are very precious for the people of that time and later on as well until very recently. Still, some people love horses, but these horses were, as we discussed before, were members of his army. But we've said we have to qualify this word, his army, as the prophetic army. So they are, for human beings, one of the best signs, evidences of God's grace, so that we can really see that these horses are created in a perfect way. So it is impossible not to recognize their creator in their being as they are. That is why we interpreted the army of Suleiman as the, if you like, evidences for the truthfulness, reality of his message. So these horses played a great role in appreciation of the God's creation in this world in a perfect way, so that you cannot really attribute it to an accident or meaningless or nothingness. But we have to think deeply, what does it mean really, the emphasis on the near the close of day. Now, what does it mean? It is open interpretations. We cannot really simply take it as a literal meaning, saying that, the horses were presented to him towards the end of the day, close of the day. So it will have, if we have really see it in terms of a daily life, physical daily life experience, it will show, or it will make us feel that just a day, towards the end of the day, he was presented to horses, a literal meaning. What is the significance of it for me? Now we know from that is my take off from my readings, but really I have to be very selective, and I have to find out which is most convenient for me or convincing for me. Close of the day may refer, but this is one idea, one option, of course. Excuse me, let me see. Transience of everything in the universe. Oh, good option. Thank you, Asim, for this comment. Yeah, transience of what in practical terms of human life. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no to any suggestions in the classical books or modern books, whatever they are. Just my conclusion. That's my takeaway from all my readings. When we get older, our attachment, the attachment of our heart to this world becomes stronger. And young people can really be ambitious, but very extravagant, wasteful. But as we get old, human beings get old towards the end of their life, excuse me, towards the end of their life, they want to get the wealth settled down to make sure that the rest of their life must be secured. Although they know, everybody knows, I know, my life is going to end, but towards the end, as if my attachment to the world becomes stronger, because fearing that I'm going to lose it before reaching the full satisfaction. You can see around you, not among the believers particularly, but especially among the non-believers, as they get old, their love for the world and worldly wealth grows stronger. But conscious believers don't change, because they know the world is transient. So I thought it may symbolize that he was given a lot of wealth, and he wanted he wanted God to give him more wealth in order to utilize it to fulfill his prophetic mission as a prophet. But some people say that is how he was rich. I don't take it in this way personally. I'm not satisfied with it, but in order to fulfill his profession of prophethood and spread the message, make it more and more stronger in evidence. So he was asking God, he's going to ask God, that we will see in following verses, give me more wealth, as if, but it is not prescribed as wealth. Wealth we will see in the words of the verses. I mean, more things. Give me more. We will see it. So that he is becoming more and more eager to spread his message. So to get the best of everything, to show them to the people and say that, look, how can you ignore the value of the qualities you experience on them and then not be and then be negligent about their creator and not thankful to their creator. That's what I understood. He 32, he kept saying, my love of things is part of my remembering my Lord, until the horses disappeared from the sight. Now, my love of fine things, أحببت حب الخير. Khair has many meanings. One of them is good, the properties we are having. Of course, we know that whatever we get benefit from is khair. Again, this translated as love of fine things here is part of my remembering my God. This is one way of reading the verse, because حب الخير عن ذكر ربي, some people, it means they translate it as, we have to know that, because we will, if you study other ordinary translations, you will end up seeing that he kept saying, or he said, my love of fine things is taking me away from remembering my God. Yeah, remembering my God, rather than is a part of my remembering my God, my Lord. This is the meaning the translator may give to the word an, as away from, or an, which is called sebabiyya. Now think about it. Becomes a means of remembering my God, rather than what they call it bad. It means away from it, but becomes a means of it, because of my eager to remember my God, ذكر ربي, I want more good, fine, perfect evidences for my message to prove and to present to the people. Two ways are possible grammatically to read. Majority of the historians took the story, Suleiman as the king, and he had these worldly things, and these things kept him away from remembrance of God. That's why, although there is no evidence in the Quran whatsoever, he missed his Asr prayer because of his interest in the fine horses. This contradicts the first verse we read today. He was an excellent servant who always turned to God. It doesn't mean that the prophets never misses the salah. No, some prophets, for example, Prophet Muhammad, we hear in his early life, he wasn't praying, but he started, developing a kind of relationship with God, going to Kaaba and somehow connecting with his God, not in the form that we are accustomed with now as prayer, 5 daily prayer form, but somehow. But when the 5 daily prayer was established, ordered by God, and then he got the instruction from the Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, how to perform it, the physical appearance of it. You see, and also during, at the same time, during his life, he missed Asr prayer as well during the war of Ahzab, trench war, which is known also trench war, where they dig the trench around the city of Al-Medina. Anyways, because of the attack of the enemies, he couldn't really leave them just for, in order to pray 2 rakah, couldn't. As in war conditions, 4 rakat becomes 2 rakat. That is special fiqh matter, is not related to our studies. Didn't have at the time, and he was very disappointed with the enemies and said, you kept me away from my worship prayer. It is possible, but for a good reason, better reason, without having any choice, any free will to interfere, to involve into this subject. Here, because of the love of the wealth, that the prophet missed the prayer. It contradicts the qualities that describes with the Prophet Sulaiman as excellent servant and who always turned to God, awab. And also we will read another word again describing the position or the quality of the Prophet Sulaiman as tawab. Again, similar meaning, but turning back to him or repenting to him, being in the position of a repenting person, the person who always repents God. For, of course, no one can perfectly really praise God, glorify God as he deserves to be as a created being. It is impossible for anyone, including the prophets. No, it's a created being. They are created being. They cannot know the capacity of, it is impossible as a created being to know the capacity of the absolute one, absolute being. So they cannot really appreciate his glory as he deserves to be at all. But humanly, as much as possible, we have to do that. The prophets do that, or for their mission, they have to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be appointed as prophets and trained in this way. We know this. So we have to watch out. So as it is translated here, my love of fine things is part of my remembering my Lord. So until the horses disappeared from sight, he said, 33, bring them back, he said, and started to stroke their legs and necks. Of course, what Israeliyat, the rabbinic interpretation of Torah, suggested, looked like in physical term, this meseh turned to be chopping some parts of their leg, but meseh has nothing to do with it. But if you take it in historical text and see it in physical terms rather than prophetic mission, then you have to interpret this message with no reason to chop the meat of the legs and necks. If it was, I argue, and some people also argued, very rare, very small number of scholars argued that if he missed the prayer because of the horses, it is his mistake. Why, as a prophet, he would commit an injustice action by punishing the horses? Rather than he must punish himself. If he has to chop some meat, he has to chop some meat from his own leg, or however you call it, from his own body. Well, it is irrational, but this interpretation never made sense to me at all, even before I seriously started studying the Quran. No, can't be. Message cannot be in any way to chop the meat. Message is just chatting, stroking, like we do message while we are performing our prayer like this. They said, I'm not taking the skin off my head. It has nothing to do with it. But if you start thinking that the prophet Suleiman is a king or was a king, and he had a huge army, with his army threatened the people around his kingdom, then you have to end up interpreting the rest of the story alongside with way of thinking, which does not fit any prophetic mission, prophet status at all. And it also contradicts the following verses. Okay, we will continue now. Let's see here. Let me go together with you. So 38, 34 follows the story, and we tested Suleiman and placed a corpse on his throne, but he then repented. What does it mean? Now, Fatanna Suleiman, we tested Suleiman. It means we really demonstrated, gave him an opportunity to understand the reality. The Quranic word taste, fatanna, or fatana, or other words with the same meaning, generally interpreted that as a test. But in our discussions, we are very careful. The test is not to see, or God needs to see what we are going to do as if he doesn't know, but God is giving the opportunity to us to fulfill their mission on this earth as a way of means of training, education. We repeat this point on many times in our discussions because it is very important to understand this verse. This kind of words in the Quran, which mean all of them are really translated into English as testing. But I would say an opportunity to educate himself as the student are given even what we call them tests or exams. They must be for the purpose of education, to train, to help the students to make progress in their studies. So we placed a corpse on his throne. What does it mean? We definitely made it clear that his worldly properties, all of the worldly properties, in and of themselves are nothing but corpse. But if you read them, make them the means of remembering your Lord, trying to see the meanings in their existence, trying to see the signs in their existence, pointing to the qualities of their creator. Now, it is not the throne anymore as we understand. So physical side of the things, the beings, material aspect of the beings are nothing but corpse. So, and then he repented, turned back to his Lord, his God. Again, enabe, again, turning back. Yeah. He's given the opportunity to see the difference between material side of the things and their meaning, which must be used as a means of seeing the qualities manifested in them, qualities of their creator manifested in them. So they will be a means of acknowledgement of God through their qualities. And then he repented, turned back. I should be extremely careful not to love these horses in the example or other things mentioned in the Quran, elements mentioned in the Quran in his army, not for the sake of their material power, but for the sake of the qualities they display to me in order to understand who their creator is. The creator's qualities must be read on them. So he was given this opportunity to acknowledge his creator through the properties that God gave him. He will say again, because of this distinction now, he made it clear that my throne, my authority, my power in this world, nothing but a dead body. In physical terms. So I have to use it as a means of acknowledging my Lord. That is why a previous verse is translated as, let's go back here in a very appropriate way. My love of fine things, verse 32. My love of fine things is a part of my remembering my Lord. Now you understand why this interpretation is fitting to the mission of the prophethood. Come back. So is it where we are now? Okay, here we are. And we tasted Solomon and placed a corpse on his throne, but he then repented. I must be very careful. If I had some sort of inclination, because we are created beings, human beings, towards the material beauty or of the horses or any elements of his army or his opportunities given to him by God in order to employ them to spread his message, use them as evidence to the truthfulness of his message. But sometimes human beings are weak. may fall into loving the thing for itself. So it was clearly shown to him that this physical side of, material side of the things without the meaning is nothing. It means it's a corpse. As if we give the typical example in our discussions, as if taking the paper and the quality of calligraphy of the book, or really cover design of the book, beautifully covered design of the book, we may be attracted to the book because of this, but none of them make this book as a book that I can learn the meaning. So I have to see the meaning in them. Then it becomes a book for me. Otherwise, it becomes, collection of piece of papers. It is not, there is no meaning in it, just the papers, that's it. So he learned now he can go back to God and ask what? He prayed, or he said, my Lord, forgive me. Grant me such sovereignty as no one after me will have. You are the most generous provider. Yeah. Inneke entel wahhab. Gives immensely with no limit. Okay. My life, forgive me if I have any tendency towards the material side of the world, but I now understood, I realized through your clear demonstration that my throne, material throne, my power is nothing if I attach any power to my throne. My power, we said the throne, in fact, must be understood as his prophetic authority or message. But if it is turned into really the throne we understand, symbolizing the power of a king, it is nothing, I will be nothing there but a corpse. So I don't want to be a corpse. No one wants to be a corpse. So forgive me. And look what he is asking now. If he really made a mistake, missed the prayer, and took the wrong side of the horses, and really, because of the love of the horses, he missed the prayer. It means he forgot his worship of God. Then how then he will ask this request, prayer, grant me such sovereignty so as no one after me will have. I would be ashamed of it. If I fail only with horses in my worship, fulfilling my mission in the world, I wouldn't say, please God, give me so much that no one will have after me. What does it mean? Humanly possible to have the utmost level. Give me this opportunity. I will use it in order to remember you and serve my mission as a prophet. We have to ask God, and the prophet hadith narrations clearly say that when you ask something from God, pray something from God, asking him to give you something, don't limit it as if you are asking from a person who has a limited source. Just say, give me the soul as much as possible. That's what the prophet hadith narrations also clearly states this. And here we see that Prophet Suleiman also prayed God to give him such sovereignty, mulk. Mulk means sovereignty, mulk means property, wealth, or opportunity in this world, anything. So we can say sovereignty as well. Yeah. Who doesn't want to be sovereign as a prophet so that his mission will be accepted and practiced by as many people as possible? Of course. So let's go to verse 36. So we subjugated him the wind. Look, his prayer is accepted. Blowing gently at his command to wherever he pleased. It means he's now the wind is subjected to his usage, or how we say sovereignty. What is he going to do with it? Enjoy himself? Then he was already taught that his throne, if it is used in the material sense, will be nothing. He will be nothing on his throne but a corpse. He learned this. So he made sure that I'm not going to fall into this mistake, and I will keep my remembrance of God through the means of these properties and spread the message as wide as possible and to as many people as possible I can reach out. So my power of, for example, horse is not enough to go far away to spread my message. That's the ego of the prophet. The same thing we see in the life of the Prophet Muhammad. We have to also have this attitude in our life. So we have to ask God to give us good, fine things in us in order to employ them to serve his religion, in order to employ them to benefit from their qualities, appreciate them, be pleased with their creator, and acknowledge their creator, so that I will strengthen my belief in him, my conviction in him, and really devote myself as much as I can. Otherwise, give me some property so that I will have a comfortable worldly life is nothing to do with prophethood, and we should not have this purpose as well. We should have this purpose, this loss of property, in order to fulfill the mission we are given in this world. To worship God personally, to spread his message to others as much as possible. Ask God to give us more opportunities to spread the message of the Quran to as many people as possible. For example, my language is not enough. I want them, please God, give me the best language I can use to present what I understood, what I benefit from your message. I should say, give me the best eloquence of the language that I'm using, that you will, after me, no one will have it. At most possible level that I have to perfectly convey the message to other people who need it. All of us have to pray for it, but we have to be careful not to confuse it. So at the same time, while we are reading this story, we should never say that, Solomon failed once and asked for forgiveness for his mistake, and then he still asks more. What an materially engaged mind and heart this person had. Cannot be a prophet, cannot be the best example for me. and presented in the Quran. He must be presented as like Pharaoh is presented to me. But no, it's the previous Quran said, previous verses said, he was an excellent person. He was ever tawwab, turning back, repenting, and really going back to God, referring all whatever he has as a human being, any evidence for himself, attributing it to God, taking it back to their creator. For example, if I enjoy a food, I will say, this is God's grace for me. Nothing to do with the material side of this food. Matter cannot make me pleased. Matter cannot know that I have a sense of pleasing or sense of taste or something. So this communication is realized by God. We have to say, yeah, please God, give me the best so that I will appreciate your mercy, your grace, your benevolence, your generosity more and more. So we have to be very careful while we are asking, seeking, running after material means to employ them, to know God better, to convey God's message better and wider in a stronger way. For example, if only I knew how to really speak English perfectly, if I was able to make all the means, best videos, etc., why not? I should ask them, please God, give me. So work harder to learn better, to improve my qualities better in order to worship God, serve his religion, his message, and reach out to the needy people. That is prophetic mission. I mean, the followers of the prophet must follow their tradition. Okay. We subjugated to him, verse 36, we subjugated to him the wind, blowing gently at his command to wherever he pleased. Because his command means, be emri. So, tajri bi emrihi, and haythu asab, wherever he wanted to go, it reach out. So he was giving the all opportunity to spread the message. That is how we should understand this verse as an appropriate example for us in the life of a prophet, which is presented to us, who was giving knowledge, who was given wisdom, so that we have to follow his knowledge, we have to follow his wisdom. That is the consistency I found in extrapolating the meanings of these verses. Now, let's go. The last piece now. That's it, the last piece. Inshallah, we will try. As well as Shaitan, the Satans, builders and divers. It's very important. How can you really use Satan? Yes, we are using Satan. How? We are using La ilaha in order to, I'm hurrying up, really, to finish the subject today. We are using La ilaha in order to confirm illallah. We see that, look, this is Satan is whispering that this thing may happen by itself, eternally happen by itself, etc., etc. I say, is it possible? All the arguments we hear from the atheist or materialist philosophers or scientists, they say how the universe is working perfectly, and it is not really very complicated. We can reduce it to a simple formula. For example, this one, that one. Okay, all right. You all know this. This is what's happening now. I look at them. Okay, please give me the existence, how the existence can come into existence, or the beings can come into existence. Is there anything that you find in the world that it is the cause of existence of anything at all? Of course, they usually ask the question why there is the universe rather than nothing, this existence rather than nothing. All the arguments go around by the materialist philosophers. You notice that they are just arguing from what? How this machine works. And you understand the program. After you understand the program, you can solve how it is working. All right. How come these matter turned into a computer? Yes, you said that it is working in this way. Okay. How come that I came into existence? You know how my body works. Okay, fine. And do you think it is happening by itself? Or do you attribute the power and energy or all sorts of things to a particle? And at the end, this particle turns out to be nothing but how do you say, either like, I don't know whether you know this word, it's an all technical word explaining that it is just a field or not a particle, it disappears as a particle, looks like a wave or something. You cannot fix it. Or it is here, it is there. All right. How this stuff that you cannot give an existence to it, be the source of existence of the whole universe in its perfect expanding form, and my existence in it as a human being intellectually questioning how it is happening, questioning the universe. If I am the product of universe itself, how can I accuse the universe that we cannot do anything? So anyways, this is not our subject, but Satan must be used in order to we can, I'm looking at my notes, we can definitely make sure that nothing in this world can be the source of existence. How? By looking at the things themselves, then giving first at first stage the possibility that that may be the source of existence of themselves or and other things. We understand it's impossible. They are subject to the order. They are not really making the order. They are acting within a perfect order. That's why some philosophers claim that the structure of the universe is very simple. Okay, my structure is very simple. My feelings are very simple. You are a simple man. But you cannot deny your reality. You are infinitely, perfectly arranged, complete creature, complete being, perfectly arranged. As if the observer, analyzer, interpreter, conscious being of the universe. That is, we can benefit from Satan. So Suleiman also benefiting from the Satans, finding out the pearls and I don't know, whatever it is, diving into the sea, and it means they are the means of getting into the deep message in the creation. You can utilize it. You can keep asking, Can this one be the source of existence? Can this one be the source of existence? That is how we should understand this kind of things, rather than bringing out the pearls or whatever they found out in the sea as a precious thing that people really admire it. Physical things, what is he going to do with it? What is he going to do with it as a prophet? Prophet needs evidence to prove that their message is really correct. Oh, we are getting. So others and Satan, builders and divers, and others bound together in chain. Look, under his control. Oh, I am going to utilize them. You cannot impose any power on me. Of course, all the satanic ideas, which ignores the aspect of the creation, demonstrates God, their creator, the qualities of their creator. I can utilize them and benefit from them. So they are under his control. Therefore, Satan is now really bound by the chain of the power of the message, inshallah. So it will be the same for us. We have to really tie it up by Satan by questioning without fear. Can you be the responsible for my existence, the existence of my cells, the existence of my intelligence, consciousness, the existence of my spirit, my feelings? Question my body as well, arrangement of my body, shape of my body. Can you be the source of it? Which means you are using, which kind of qualities you have? Go and ask and ask and ask. You will definitely end up coming up. None of them is possible. Now, deep and deep and deep into the ocean, you can go and still find the finest creature, the most beautiful evidence out of this questioning. That is, I found that these verses must be understood in this way. This is our gift, so give or keep without any limit. So this is our gift. We can give or keep without any limit. We can give or keep without any limit. I see. هذا عطاؤنا فأمنن أو أمسك بغير حساب. Keep it or spread it to others without any limit. وإن له عندنا لزلفا وحسن مآب. Here it is. And surely he enjoys exclusive nearness. No, you see, if you really be fond of the material things, miss your prayer because of the love of horses. Oh, but this is a horrible Israeliyat in the teachings of Jewish scholars. He enjoys exclusive nearness in our presence and exalted position in the hereafter. You see the perfect conclusion. He fulfilled his mission in the best humanly possible form to this, in order to spread the message to the people around him. Everyone, as much as he could reach, by using all sorts of means, air, and diamonds, or whatever they are, and animals, plants, human beings, jinns, satans, every means he used in order to spread his prophetic kingdom. Alhamdulillah, I found this interpretation of the story first meaningful, consistent, and consistent in the mission of the prophet, of a prophet, and also practical for myself. How can I do it? How can I apply it to my life? I can employ Satan in my search for acknowledging my God. I can employ the army of animal kingdom or vegetable kingdom and all sort of imaginary ideas. Maybe those people who study, especially nowadays, who study how the universe is functioning and presenting us perfect formulas, equations, and pictures, and all these different ideas, how they fail in understanding where the universe is going into the dark or black holes. We don't know. Anyways, I'm very sorry for them. They are working very hard. I appreciate their sincerity in their false belief. Inshallah, we will learn from their endeavor, their labor, their struggling to spread their message so that we will imitate them in the positive way, not to destroy people's hopes for their future, but help them build up a perfect hope of their future from the absolute creator by acknowledging him, inshallah. That is what my understanding and what I wanted to share with you about the narration, the story of the Prophet Sulaiman in the Quran. Inshallah, we will go on studying the story of Prophet Yusuf starting from next week. Would you like to add anything, make a comment or question, or what if anything disturbs you that you didn't agree or really couldn't agree and didn't make sense to you or want to reject? Anyone, any idea? Open your, unmute yourself and speak or write. Otherwise, we will end up today's discussion. It is already time, inshallah. We start this class at 5, inshallah. So if you are present in the beginning, I would feel that, okay, inshallah, we are ready to engage into the deep meaning of these stories, inshallah. So far, there is no one would like to make any comment. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.